So this is my Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra, and I've had it for a few weeks, and today I want to talk about it compared to the upgrade that I came from, the S24 Ultra, and talk to you if it was worth it. Like, let's discuss if this was worth the upgrade for those of you who weren't early adopters and are still on the fence, if you even want to consider making this jump. So what is up, guys? Nick here, helping you to master your technology, and let's begin by talking about the price I paid for this with the trade-in. I paid $750 for this phone. Now, I actually didn't trade in the S24 Ultra. I traded in the base S24 because that phone was upgraded to the S25, and that's a better option, so I picked up the S25, got rid of my S24. I didn't want to get rid of the S24 Ultra because I still was on the fence myself if I still wanted to keep this, and so far I'm not so sure that I'm in love with the S24 Ultra after the S25 Ultra, but there is some things that make it a better phone. All right, so let's talk about the body and the build after a few weeks. Now, the upgrade is not in generally the look, it's more in the feel. So this phone has pointy corners on here, and while it does give an iconic look, and some people argue it's more premium because it doesn't look like any other phone with the pointy corners, this iconic classic Samsung, I do agree with you on that point. It definitely does have a premium look. The sides are not quite flat on the S24 Ultra, which to me made it more slippery in the hand, and then when you hold it, it does dig into the corner with these pointier corners. Yes, most people will put it in a case and that could help a little bit, but the weight of the S24 Ultra, while not heavy, I mean, most smartphones at this size are not super heavy, but still enough to feel it in the hand. It definitely doesn't feel quite as comfortable now that I've experienced the S25 Ultra. So a few weeks later, you just notice how much easier the sides are being basically fully flat to hold, and also the corners feeling much nicer in the corner. I don't generally disagree with you when you say the front looks a little better on the S24 Ultra. I agree with that. It definitely does to me. But the actual usability, that huge reduction in weight, and also the flat sides and the corners are definitely making me not want to use the S24 Ultra anymore, because why would I want to use something that doesn't feel as nice to hold in the hand? That just makes zero sense to me just because it looks better. I don't know. I'm more about the feel in the hand than the looks department for me personally. But you could disagree if you would like. That's okay. I'm not against you if you think that you rather have the looks over the feel in the hand. But personally for me, it's kind of like why I like the 15 Pro Max more than the 14 Pro Max was they got a much lighter version of that phone. And now we're back to the clunkier size in the 16 Pro Max with a really heavier phone. So I like lighter phones personally. That's just my take. Let me know what you think about that down below. And what's impressive to me is they managed to make the Galaxy S25 Ultra screen bigger while also making it seem like it's a little bit shorter and also not being as heavy. So you have a bigger screen that comes in a body that's just more manageable. So that to me has been one of the biggest joys of using the S25 Ultra. And I don't think you would be missing your S24 Ultra, especially in that department, the display department. Further discussing the display, they've actually fixed the issue with the grainy display at low brightness. So you would only see this really like at some of the lower brightnesses on the Samsung S25 Ultra. Like you would have to get really down low on the S24 Ultra. There would be some grain, but not so on this one. So you can go through any range of brightness and you don't have that issue whatsoever. It also retains those similar features where you can change to the top resolution. You can lower your resolution. You can do what you want there. And it also looks a little bit better, I would say. Overall, the color accuracy is just a little bit better here. Brightness is about the same and generally still has some same anti-reflective properties, but it's just a slightly better display and a slightly bigger one in a more manageable package. So this area, to me, I don't want to go back to this phone, even though it has close to the similar display. It's just not better, especially with that grain issue at the lower light. That's one of the issues I actually experienced on this phone. I didn't want to make it a big deal. Still was my best phone of last year because it was still an amazing phone, S24 Ultra, but now that it's gone, this one is even better. Now when it comes to software a few weeks later, there's no real major upgrades to me here because I was already experiencing One UI 7. on the S24 Ultra. But the real upgrade comes in the area of Galaxy AI features. It's a little bit more well-rounded here. So let me go ahead and find that. I think I scrolled right past it. Yes, I did. So this one right here is my favorite, Audio Eraser. They talked about this in the event, but personally, I love this feature. This phone is one of the best phones ever for recording without a microphone and not even needing one. This is amazing. You can just record with your phone, erase the wind noise and stuff like that, and be on your way. Now, I know some other phones do that as well, but I actually found this one to work better than the one on the iPhone. Personally, this just sounded better to me. The speaker, just the audio just sounded better. So this is the phone I would want to take out, probably along with the Pixel, for one of the better experiences with not having a mic on you. Now, of course, if you're trying to do top level professional audio, you'll of course want that. The next one is the Now Brief. I really love this feature as well, even though it doesn't really do too much if you're not really like in the ecosystem with all the other products. Still kind of giving you a morning brief of news, your weather, without having to like go into separate apps. It's kind of a nice feature. It also will showcase on the lock screen as well. So if we go here on the lock screen, you'll see it at the bottom here. My lock screen is pretty dark right here, but you'll see it at the bottom. So yeah, after all this time, I would say just a few weeks, the more well-rounded Galaxy AI features is making this kind of more compelling option to me than recommending S24 Ultra. Although the S24 Ultra kind of got it kick-started, it's still going to have quite a few features as well. It's just a little bit more well-rounded on the S25 Ultra, so I kind of like that more. But other than that, software on both of them is basically the same experience with One UI 7. And if you don't care about the AI stuff, it's definitely not a necessity to do the upgrade right now from the S24 Ultra, because everything else is basically identical on both phones. So the S Pen, one of the biggest contentions or topic of debate. Now, I've actually seen some comments of people saying, you know what, I don't really care, but I don't like that Samsung removed the feature for the same money. I get it. That I totally agree with that. I don't think they should have removed this because, you know, it's kind of like they already got rid of the SD card slot. Now they're getting rid of the best S Pen features. It's like, are we going backwards here? It kind of feels that way. So Samsung's removal of certain features while adding AI features, it's cool and all. I don't like that they're calling this an Ultra phone, yet they're removing features. So personally, I want to see Samsung go all out again, bro. I want the SD card slot back. I want the BLE features back. Just to say I have all the Ultra specs. I also want this phone to have a bigger display. Personally, I want it to be like Ultra stomping over everybody with like a 7.2. You know, if you're going to call it Ultra, let's beast on every phone. You know what I'm saying? But now most of the phones are pretty close to this phone. Some even have more RAM, bigger batteries. And also, while they don't have a pen, they do have a lot of similar features, and they're not called Ultra phones. So some of them are, but not all of them. So I don't like the removal of the BLE feature. While it hasn't personally affected me, like I don't really use it all that much, I still don't like that it's not there because it should be there, I would say, for those who do want to use it. So this one is still going to win on the Galaxy S24 Ultra. If you do want the BLE features, you want maybe a slightly more well-rounded package with those features, you'll want this one for sure. So that's something a few weeks later that still kind of like makes me think, why remove features? It's called an Ultra phone. We shouldn't be removing things on the top of the line. Okay, when it comes to battery life, this phone I actually think is better than the S24 Ultra. It's been lasting me longer. It gets through a full day. Annoyingly, it still does that thing where it goes down from 100 to 90 really fast. I don't know why my Samsung phones, they've been doing this for like 10 years. They just, from 100 to 90, they just cannot stay in that first 10% range. I don't know why they do this. Let me know if you know why. But after that, it just sips battery after that. And it could last a full day and then some. This is definitely that full day. And then you can make it through some of your day. Then you have to charge instead of having to charge every night, especially if you're a medium to heavy user. This one's going the distance. So I do appreciate the better battery life. It mostly comes down to the upgraded Snapdragon 8 Elite chipset in here. You also do have really good charging with 45 watt charging. It's pretty fast. It's not going to be, it's not going to be OnePlus fast, but it's fast. It's good enough. I still want to see an upgrade there as well. I'm just happy that I got better battery life now than I did on the S24 Ultra. My battery life experience improvement is probably about an hour or so better. It's not massive, but I paid for the new phone, so I'm happy that the battery is a little bit better, but I want it to get bigger. I don't like that the S24 Ultra has the same size battery as my new S25 Ultra. They should be upgrading the size of it as well. So hopefully next year, fingers crossed, the size goes up as well. When it comes to the camera, they have been amazing. These cameras have been really crushing it for me. They're so versatile, and that's exactly what I experienced on the S24 Ultra. But the main thing that I really like about them is, of course, the audio erase feature I talked about earlier. That is my favorite thing with the AI tools. But also, I really like this new log mode recording. This is really cool because you can get incredibly high quality color correction and make your videos just pop a little bit more than the competition. So that's a separating feature for me. Now, Samsung could easily bring that feature possibly to the S24 Ultra, but I don't know if we're going to see that. I think they might just keep that for this phone right here. And of course, in Expert RAW, which you can also get over here, you can get a little bit more fine-tuned control with this phone. Actual results still have a Samsung look to them, so you're not going to probably experience massively better results on the actual camera performance, but they are definitely better. They're just not going to be a massive change. The ultra-wide will, though. The ultra-wide got a sharper lens, so your ultra-wide photography will improve. That's not to say last year's wasn't great. This was already a super versatile camera that had really no major issues. Of course, the ultra-wide is not quite as sharp, but it still produces acceptable results. And if we go to video, you don't have the log recording over here or the audio eraser feature. So that makes this one feel just slightly more, a little bit less advanced. But it's still, with all of these features here, including Expert RAW also available for this one, you can still go to town with the camera on the S24 Ultra. So both of these to me are definitely pro level cameras. They're both amazing. But I do like the few little enhancements to the S25 Ultra. It makes it feel a little bit more well-rounded. But I still am disappointed that we didn't get actually new lenses, mostly on the main lens. I just want to see them push the boundaries even further on the innovation department. Like, it would be amazing to see like even more zoom, like 150 times zoom, or even better recording of video, like just a little bit, like let's push the boundaries a little bit more, maybe a larger lens, like maybe, you know what I'm saying, like let's push it a little bit more, because seeing the same sensor every year is kind of like, I just had that phone, you know what I mean? Like I want to see something new. And the audio performance was actually pretty similar. I couldn't see any massive differences. So if you were looking for like a much improved speaker, that's not here. In addition, I will say that because there was no IR blaster, that makes some other phones to me feel like they have an extra few features. And when it comes to performance, this phone obviously beat the S24 Ultra in the benchmarks. It beat it in just day-to-day app opening. It was just overall a little more fluid of a phone. So, S24 Ultra was already great, but seeing this one go to the next level even quicker, the 8 Elite is just an amazing chip, and it's overclocked here for the S25 Ultra. It's also pretty useful because with the AI features and having like split screen modes and a lot of like extra advanced features on the Samsung phone, if you take advantage of them, get like the DeX mode, like that chip actually is doing the processing in the background. It really is being used, especially if you don't run into any lag or anything like that. You don't really notice it, but it's actually doing its job. So I do like having the faster chip. I don't like that they didn't improve the RAM here. I feel like the S25 Ultra, they should improve the RAM so we can get a little bit better on the, going back through apps, like switching between apps and longer term use, like 5-6 years down the line. People keep this a very long time. That RAM will help them in that longer term. I will say this has some of the best 5G connectivity I've seen on the market today. In addition, very good phone call quality and very fast Wi-Fi performance, shockingly. It felt a little quicker to me on the Wi-Fi than this S24 Ultra. The ultrasonic fingerprint sensor is exactly the same, so there was no real changes there. But at the end of the day, Samsung offering those great trade-in deals, this to me was definitely worth it. Honestly, I love the look of the S24 Ultra, but it kind of feels heavy now. I'm not going to say clunky, but it feels heavy and like a big brick. This one feels comfortable and light. And I know from like a marketing perspective, it doesn't really look better like on pictures or on video, but if you go to the store and you just feel this in the hand, the thinner bezels, the flatter side, it just feels nicer to hold. And I think that is where it shines. However, if you were to stick with the S24 Ultra, I don't blame you. It's an amazing device. It won my best device of the year last year. So in conclusion, I much personally prefer the lighter build of this one and the rounded corners, but that doesn't mean you will. Just wanted to share my experience with these two a few weeks later. And if you do want to make the upgrade, I don't think you'll be necessarily disappointed unless you really want the Bluetooth features. But other than that, you could probably stick with the S24 Ultra for another year and get even bigger upgrades, which is probably a good recommendation because you'll still get a pretty good trade-in on the S24 Ultra. But for those of you coming from an S23 or older iPhone or something like that and you want to try Samsung, I do think they did make enough upgrades to make this a better phone. Thumbs up if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will catch you all in the very next episode. Nick here, be sure to be well, and peace.